name is Neiro McBride, and from Colorado State University. I have the pleasure of serving as your host today. I want to welcome you to this edition of our VWEC Expert Series, in which we ask educational professionals to share their experiences and their insights into ways that virtual worlds can be used to engage students. I am pleased to introduce today's guest presenters, Roxie, Neiro, and BJ Gearbox, who will share with us the history of the Virtual Education Journal, the VEJ, some of their favorite articles, and their vision for the future. In addition, they will tell us how people can write for or otherwise contribute to the journal. Dr. Rosie Vojtek, or Roxie Neiro, is co-founder and Chief Communication, Design, and Innovation Officer for Innovation and the Editor-in-Chief for the Virtual Education Journal. During her career in both Oregon and Connecticut, she served as the Assistant Executive Director for the Connecticut Association of Schools and as a Curriculum Director for Oregon City Public Schools, Elementary Principal, and a middle and elementary school teacher. This is in Oregon, Connecticut, and elsewhere. Dr. Bob, or BJ, is co-founder and Chief Executive Officer for Innovation and the Design Editor for the Virtual Education Journal. During his career, he has worked in both higher education and K-12 as teacher leader, associate professor, director, dean, and assistant provost. These organizations include the Los Angeles Unified School District, Avon Public Schools, College of the Redwoods, Concordia University, University of Hartford, and Harvard Law School of Harvard University. The Vojteks co-authored Motivate, Inspire, Lead, 10 Strategies for Building Collegial Learning Communities, published by Corwin Press in 2009. And we co-authored the technology column for the Journal of Staff Development. Please be advised that this presentation will be recorded and streamed on YouTube and fully captioned. Please see the instructions on the sign to my lower right. You can find the stream indicated in that sign. Feel free to post questions to chat during their talk, and we will collect them to be answered at the end of the session. So now, without further delay, let me turn the program over to Dr. Roxie and Dr. BJ, and we welcome you to our expert series.
Okay, thank you, Neiro. And hello, everyone. It's great to be here, especially after being away for more than 4 years. We're excited about the relaunch of Virtual Education Journal, better known as VEJ, for VEJ Out, with our fall 2024 issue. We'd like to begin by thanking VWEC for inviting us to share information about VEJ. VEJ began in 2011 because ISTE, the International Society of Technology and Education, was pressuring the ISTE Special Interest Group for Virtual Environments, SIG-VE, later to become the Virtual Environment Networking Group, VEN, to publish a newsletter for our group. Being me, volunteer Rosie, I volunteered to edit the newsletter for SIG-VE. But back in 2011, very few educators were involved in Second Life and other virtual worlds. So we decided that instead of a newsletter, we should do a journal with lots of pictures so people could see and read what was happening in Second Life and virtual worlds. After all, a picture tells a story, and we had lots of stories to tell. So since we were all volunteers, we decided to publish VEJ 4 times a year, winter, spring, summer, and fall. And that trend still continues. VEJ still relies on volunteers to submit articles for publication. In addition, after using IntelliBook to publish in Second Life for avatars to read, we decided that the software was way too time-consuming and cumbersome. Plus, it severely limited access for VEJ readers who had to be in Second Life to view it. Because we wanted to share VEJ with readers beyond Second Life and in Second Life, we moved to publishing online using Issue. We currently have readers from around the world.
So we get statistics from Issue, and to date for our latest publication, We have readers from over a dozen countries, which is actually pretty cool, I think. Both Eastern and Western Europe and South America. It's really interesting to see. So even though VEJ began as a journal to highlight ISTE SIG-VE work, it quickly branched out beyond that, what SIG-VE was doing. And since the beginning, Rosie and I, even though it was under an umbrella as another entity, we have been the sole owners. We pay all the expenses to maintain VEJ going forward.
VEJ is a non-peer-reviewed journal. Although we welcome and include research articles, our goal has always been to be practitioner-oriented. Our mission at VEJ is to share the work that educators are doing in digital and virtual environments, disseminate educational and technological research tools and best practices, document and preserve the culture, social relations, digital work, and artifacts, especially as they relate to teaching and learning. Encourage and promote the work of educators and their students to effectively and seamlessly utilize digital tools, and most importantly, celebrate the lives, accomplishments, and preserve the learning and legacies of educational leaders.
VEJ is interested in learners of all ages. We always are looking for educators and their students to share what's happening in virtual worlds, digital worlds, and online environments. What we want to know is, what are tools that are being used? How are educators engaging students differently in virtual environments with digital tools and digital learning? What are the impacts of AI, VR, AR, and mixed reality having? What are the takeaways? And what's being learned through research and best practices that can be shared with others?
We're also interested in personal and professional learning and growth for educators as well as those in the field. For example, how are pre-service, graduate, and in-service programs providing professional learning, pedagogical, and skill-based development in virtual worlds and digital environments? What's happening outside the field of education to address professional learning and skill development while in virtual worlds or digital environments? How are AR, VR, and AI being utilized in virtual worlds and digital environments to train, share, and support teaching and learning, especially in immersive experiential learning, simulations, role play, and other training activities? And because we believe in a balanced life, we're also interested in how educators are exploring virtual and digital environments for their own personal learning, well-being, social relationships, networking, and connections. Virtual Education Journal seeks to document and archive the work that's being done by and for those interested in education in order to share, disseminate, and replicate it around the world and throughout the metaverse. We encourage and publish articles from educators, artists, designers, builders, entertainers, librarians, and authors who are using virtual environments and digital learning to further their craft. We're always looking for ways to push the envelope of thinking in the articles that we publish to show not only how best practices and effective teaching strategies are inside the box, but also what's happening outside the box.
As we talk about VEJ through our years of publication, we only have a few minutes to share what we have, and it's not going to cover nearly the breadth of the work that we've done for VEJ. In 2020, we published a series called The Best of VEJ, which includes a whole lot of our favorite articles, but there's still many, many more. So we want to make sure that you have the URLs for all of our issues, including the Best of VEJ series, so that you can grab a copy, enjoy every morsel and devour every bite, and share the best of VEJ with others. You can find VEJ at the website, which is virtualeducationjournal.com, that you can see on the screen right now. You can find it at issue.com, which is where it's published, as long as you go to /innovation. And if you have any questions about submissions or want to use any content in your own work, contact Rosie at either of the two email addresses that you see on the screen. And be sure to put VEJ in the subject line so we can filter out to get to you quickly. And if you're in Second Life, be sure to check out VEJ headquarters at Waterstone. You can get a copy of the latest issue of VEJ. You can find out information about how to write for VEJ. So we hope to see you there soon.
Actually, you can also check out WIC Foods, and I'll talk about them a little bit more later because they have a walk and take place. And Edovation, our umbrella company, also has a building there. We haven't put anything in it yet, I don't think, but stop by and take a look and say hi if you're there. Over the years, there have been so many motivating and inspiring articles. The hardest part for us is choosing articles, just a couple of them to share with you today. There's just so many. So we tried to select several articles to highlight for you for specific reasons.
So one of mine is, I don't know how many of you might be from the Northeast in the United States, but in the past week, New York City has just implemented something that they call congestion pricing fees to enter lower Manhattan. So if you enter Manhattan below 60th Street, which you can kind of see on the map, it's just below Central Park, in a car, in a truck, on a motorcycle, even a taxi, Uber, or Lyft, you're going to be charged a fee, and you can see what those fees are. This is the low end of the fee. If you don't have one of the sensors, they're going to photograph your license plate, and it's pretty much double what this cost is that's on the screen. But the congestion pricing is intended to reduce the traffic in the area and encourage people to use the bus or the subway. However, way back in 2016, we published an article that described how Uber could potentially replace every taxi in New York City utilizing 9,000 autonomous Uber cars. A Columbia University study concluded that in such a plan, passengers would wait an average of 36 seconds for a ride that would cost about 50 cents a mile. Who knew we were so forward-thinking on our content? Be sure to check out the article.
So BJ, do you think we're going to get those Uber cars? Because it certainly makes more sense than charging people $9 every time they come into the city.
I would vote for that. I think it's a ways down the road, as they say.
Anyway, let's keep our fingers crossed. In April 2015, one of the issues that we did was we celebrated Gentle Heron, aka Alice Kruger in real life, who was the recipient of the 2015 Virtual World's Best Practices in Education VWBPE Award. I was thrilled to interview Gentle, as I so admire the work that she was doing in Second Life as founder and president of Virtual Ability Incorporated, and I'm still in awe of the work she continues to do in Second Life to support and advocate for people with disabilities in virtual environments. Gentle, a strong leader and advocate, shared, quote, Virtual Ability's mission is to enable people with a wide range of disabilities by providing a supporting environment for them to enter and thrive in online worlds. She went on to say that for some people with disabilities, virtual worlds offer the ability for them to just be like everyone else. You could read more about Gentle Heron and her virtual ability work in the April 2015 issue of VEJ.
Back in the day, Roxie and I were always looking forward to the ISTE conferences during the beginning years of Second Life. You could go to the conference, people would have a badge that had a picture of their avatar on it, and because of that, you were able to meet the person behind the avatar at the conference. But over the years, things have changed, and it's harder to find opportunities to meet friends in Second Life and meet in real life. It's often something that we aspire to do when we learn that someone lives relatively close to us in real life. And when it happens, it can be a life-changing experience. Another article illustrates that point. Day Miami in Second Life, aka Bill Schmachtenberg in real life, has written a number of articles for VEJ. And we were fortunate when he decided to visit Connecticut many years ago. Bill and I spent hours exploring the early versions of Oculus Rift, and thus the article Oculus Rift in Education was born. A friendship between avatars and the person behind them was formed as well. Bill sums it up as, it was clearly a case in which meeting in Second Life led to a fun and productive meeting in real life. You can read his articles in the summer 2018 issue of VEJ.
And you can imagine back in 2018 when Oculus Rift was just beginning, the two of them stayed up, I think, all
Most
night?
of the night.
Yeah, most of the night, for a couple nights while he was visiting us. He also was just here a couple months ago, right before Halloween, and we got to spend a couple days with him going to the Peabody Museum at Yale University and to Dinosaur Park in Connecticut and hike around the trails and see the museum. And you can look at his article he shared with us in the evenings. He shared with us the simulations that he's building and the work that he's doing, and you can read more about that in our fall issue of VEJ. We chose this next article because it's so important that we find balance in our lives. This became even more complicated and becomes more complicated when you're juggling everything you need and want to do in your real life with what your avatar self wants to do virtually. During COVID, I spent at least 10 hours a day in front of a computer screen, zooming between meetings and professional learning activities with administrators in their schools, as well as writing reports, emails, and other forms of communication. The screen time got to be so much that I, Rosie, left poor Roxie in Second Life and went missing in action for almost 4 years. Thus the gap in VEJ. It got to be where I couldn't sit and look at any screen, computer, television, or movie. What I learned from this experience is how important it is to balance your time between work and play. But the play needs to be more than just fun. From being isolated, lonely, and disconnected during COVID, virtual friendships became even more important, albeit even with all of the many Zoom meetings and seeing all those people every day, it wasn't the same. Friendships are important, relationships are important, community is important. As in real life, being able to work to achieve collective and shared goals and refinements and celebrations that follow when you achieve those successes, those are the threads that weave and bond us together as a community. So one of my very, very favorite memories is from the closing social event at the 2012 VWBPE conference. There's nothing more, some of you may have been there, there's nothing more fun than a Beatles tribute concert performed by none other than Lightning Productions. That is until the large crowd, the great music, and the sparkling fireworks crashed the sim. So what did VWBPE diehards do? Why, they made their own kind of music. They did the Thriller dance. Remember that? You can check out all the fun that we had in the June 2012 issue of VEJ.
Rock on. I think I took about 100 pictures of that event. It was amazing. And in the winter 2016 issue, as well as a supplement that I created as part of an extra course in my program to become certified as a superintendent, I introduced the concept of a silicon collar worker. I described how blue collar and white collar jobs might be replaced with robots, algorithms, and what we refer to now as AI. At the time, most people worried about replacing humans just in manufacturing. I cited Amazon's robot competition as an example, but it's changed its name, but it was Momentum Machines at the time. It's now called Creative, is a company that created the fully automated hamburger robot that can cook, build, and cut fresh toppings and condiments and build the entire burger by a robot. It was pretty amazing at the time, and it's a lot more refined now.
And you can actually get a hamburger, right?
Yes.
Made by a robot, right?
Made by a robot.
Maybe that's what we should do for dinner tonight, because I don't know that I feel like cooking.
It's a long way to California for a burger.
Sounds very intriguing.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Yeah. So beyond manufacturing, I made the case that any rules-based job might be replaced with algorithms. And when you really think about it, there are a lot of jobs that when you break them down, they're essentially rules-based jobs. So back in 2016, there was a company called Quill that used algorithms to create corporate reports and other journalistic endeavors. But they created the reports from uploaded company data and text in 2016, and they could do it in any voice that the company chose for the voice of the report. At that time, the Gartner Group claimed that software and robots will replace 1/3 of all workers by, wait for it, 2025. Let's see how that works out.
The final article that we want to highlight was the Expedition Central and Walkabout column that Cyrus Hush, aka Matt Poole, wrote for VEJ. He always found so many interesting things to share from his travels in Second Life. Not only was he a dedicated and talented writer, but he also became one of our very best friends. Unfortunately, we never had the opportunity to meet him in real life, but when the Second Life community learned of Matt's sudden passing, the news spread quickly through all of the digital channels. Quiet whispers, then shouts of despair, and then painful tears rocked our metaverse as never before. Suddenly, we all realized that just as in real life, our avatars were not immortal. To say we were devastated is an understatement. We all miss him greatly, and you can read a tribute to Matt in the summer 2016 issue.
All of our covers have a special meaning to us. They're based on the time, the theme, what was going on when that issue was published. We want to highlight a few of those, and you can see them on the screen. The first issue, the one on the left, is our May 2011 issue, and it was simply our first issue, so there's a reason to be joyous.
We thought it was stellar.
We did, and it was at the time it was not bad. The cover was really a picture of the ISTE headquarters with the 4 Sims and Second Life, and Roxy and I, we were just ecstatic after the first issue of VEJ, originally only in Second Life. We used IntelliBook, I think Rosie mentioned that before, and Microsoft Word and PowerPoint to create it. If you were in Second Life in 2011, you know how challenging it was to do anything and everything, especially create a publication. The next cover is the October 2012 issue,
2012.
when two worlds, pardon?
2012.
2012. Oh, wow, wrong year.
Yep.
When two worlds collide, the concept is a design that's the intersection between real life and Second Life experiences. The cover was created by a photo I captured in Second Life at the Brandenburg Gate, and a photo I took in real life at the real Brandenburg Gate during a vacation that Rosie and I took during that summer. For us, the paradigm shift had become obvious. Our two worlds were colliding, one real, one virtual. One of the core intents of VEJ is to capture and archive virtual world events and places. There's so many great examples of world places being replicated in Second Life, and we hope to capture as many of those as possible in future issues of VEJ.
Mining the Craft is the cover of the June 2015 issue of VEJ. We've had several covers that represent the various gaming communities and the relationships and learning that happens while gaming. But we're highlighting this issue because the cover was designed by a 5th grade student with a picture of one of his builds in Minecraft. He and another 5th grade student also wrote an article called Mining the Craft, which became our theme for this issue. We were excited to have student voices for the first time in VEJ and want to encourage students of all ages to write for VEJ. There are other articles from educators in this issue discussing their own experiences in Minecraft, as well as using Minecraft with students. If you love Minecraft, the June 2015 issue is one that you'll want to check out. Digital tapestry is the theme of our fall 2024 issue, which is currently hot off the press. We explore how each of us are individual threads, and together these threads weave individuality of each of us with the color and complexity of our shared collaborations, experiences, and communities. As the article Weaving Our Digital Tapestry explains, together these threads weave the individuality of each of us with the complexity and the color of our shared collaboration experiences and communities to create a beautiful, artistic digital tapestry, leaving behind our digital footprints, sharing our collective legacy. And right next to Meryl, you can actually click on the sign that's there and get a copy of VEJ. And as always, it's free. So be sure to not only take it for yourself, but share it with your colleagues and friends.
So Roxy and I really struggled to design the cover for this digital tapestry issue. On the right-hand side, you can see one of the iterations that we built, so air quotes, I guess, around that. But after 4 years of being away from the tools that we had used before to create VEJ, we had a huge learning curve to just use the same tools that we had in the past. And we were trying to do that while we were simultaneously building a website from scratch. So it was a struggle. And when we defined the theme for the issue, we had done that before the design concept of the cover was aligned with the theme. So we needed to come up with, what are we going to do? I had an idea for a tapestry that was created from a fiber optic cable with kind of a blue-white light emanating from the ends of the cable to create a tapestry. After multiple online searches for images that might work, I couldn't find anything. So I decided to see what AI was capable of generating from my concept as a prompt. The cover was generated using ChatGPT for the primary graphic and Photoshop tools to correct the cover size. You can learn more about the process of creating this cover and some of the fun that we had using AI in my Covering the Cover article in the fall issue 2024 of VEJ.
Yeah, right, 2024. He was having so much fun. I have to tell you that he showed me some of his designs, and I'm like, you know what? Let's try some other stuff. So it was right before Halloween, and so we decided to try what would happen if, using Photoshop, what would happen if you put in blood, skeleton, bats, pumpkin, fiber optic cable, tapestry. And we got a bunch of different pictures, but the one that we like the best is the one that's on the left, um, with the pumpkins, and it just looks like a great greeting card for Halloween. And then the middle picture, we decided that we wanted to try a sunset scene. So again, using Photoshop, we used paint, strokes, splash, fiber optics, and tapestry, and got that picture of a beautiful sunset. And I like it so much that I actually want to get a poster and put it up in our house, and definitely probably over in VEJ headquarters, or in the Edovation office that we have on Waterstone, just because I think it's so beautiful. Sorry, my screen just went off. So that's the part of the technology stuff. So I got it back. We're also especially proud in the fall issue of 2024 of, and excited to share with you the whole issue. There are 116 pages full of pictures and articles highlighting people, places, and learning. Even though we've shared the cover, we want to share a few more articles from our latest fall 2024 issue. As a staff developer who follows the principles of adult learning, I have always known how important food is, and this applies in real life as well as Second Life. I was intrigued by messages that I was getting from WIC Foods and how they were using role play to create walk and eat and fine dining experiences. So I interviewed Jennifer Steele Wilder and her co-owners, Ellesmere Kate and Sam Spy Wilder, and those three ladies are all Red Seal award-winning chefs in real life, with collectively over 40 years of culinary experiences, believe it or not. And so in the article, they take us behind the scenes and share the dining experiences that they're creating and their plans for the future. You're going to want to be sure to check this out because it's very intriguing with the role play, the way that they've got it, and the fine dining experiences. There's a lot of different restaurants, and like I said, next to VEJ headquarters, we have one of their walk-in takes, and you can see the logo down at the bottom. So go check that out as well. Anyway, the article is called Dining in Second Life, of course, and be sure to take a friend and enjoy some of their venues.
As we've said, we're all about publishing articles that are about the whole person, and we want to share stories to help readers find ways to relax, rejuvenate, have fun, along with educational pedagogy and learning. We've included several articles in the fall issue, including Renewing Your Soul with Second Life Maestro Vita, who is one of the most popular Second Life musical performers. Even though he can't play the piano in real life, he says, and I quote, "The illusion is so real to me that I feel that I'm actually playing the piano, giving life to a dream I've always had." If you haven't heard him or seen him perform, he plays every week here at WEC on Thursdays at 11 o'clock SL time. And many of you may know Marley Molina, aka Neela Miller in real life, and her work on the whole brain research, but you are likely not to know so much about Marley and the work that she's doing with symbolic modeling. An article by Francisco Koolhoven, Greg Krim, is filled with details of places to explore on Inspiration Island, and Inspiration Bay. There's so much more to see and do. You really need to check it out.
And also Francisco is here today, so you may want to check with him. Great article, and he might be able to give you some more insights into the whole brain place.
We also did an interview with our dear friend and colleague, hi Valerie, Valbarian Greg Valerie Hill in real life, who's been in Second Life for over 18 years. Val discusses the work, the community virtual library, and the transition to VWEC. We also touch a bit on meta literacy, but we'll delve deeper to that topic in a winter issue of VEJ. So stay tuned and learn more about meta literacy. In the meantime, be sure to check out our interview with Val.
We've also added 2 regular columns to the VEJ issues, and this is beginning with our fall issue. The first is a regular column from both Val and Ellie about VWEC. They're going to be highlighting the exciting work and accomplishments of VWEC, including what's new, various activities, events, and of course, student work. For the latest from VWEC, be sure to check out their column.
So we're also excited to announce Mutini. She's doing a column called Magic Makeover, and she'll be discussing how to make over your avatar from head to toe and bring us some of the latest bodies, textures, clothing options. And in the fall 2024 column, Meow discusses mesh heads, mesh bodies, head skin, body skin options for avatars, and explains terms such as baked on mesh and tips for combining shapes and adding clothes and other attachments. If you're looking for a makeover, make sure to check out Meow's makeover column and discover some more of the magical tips that can help you become baked to perfection. And I certainly need that because I feel like I have a silk screen shirt on right now and I could use a definite makeover.
I think you do have on a silk shirt, screened one that is.
Yeah, on my body, not on my t-shirt.
Well, we both need to have makeovers, so we're looking forward to taking a trip with Meow and having her show us some of the ways to get made over. And hopefully when you see us in a couple of weeks, you will see us beautified or baked to perfection, as she would say.
Well, I always say, I'm not old school, I'm old skin.
We had a lot of fun writing about attending the Fun for Fashion show. For approximately an hour, dinky models wearing some of the most creative, beautiful, and fun outfits in Second Life for dinkies and teenies strutted down the runway while DJ Liam Metaluna announced the designers and models and described the outfits that are available for purchase. The show got off to a yeehaw start when the fashion show organizers, Snow and her husband, pranced around in decked out fat ponies. You can imagine. The fun continued, showcasing 8 different designers' collections and ended with the curtain calls and lots of shouting and applause. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw indeed.
Looking back over the years, there are several life-changing events that impacted our educators. The threads running through these memories are great loss, strong community, and key aha moments. The first major event that we want to mention occurred before the first issue of VEJ in 2010 when Linden Labs closed the Teen Grid. Educators who had been working with students were devastated and many left Second Life, some for good, moving on to other private and public platforms such as Minecraft, the World of Warcraft. By 2012, ISTE had decided to downsize their support. The March 2012 issue of VEJ demonstrates that the words of educators just how devastating the move to Edu Island was for survivors who were still left after the fall of the Teen Grid. The issue is full of fond memories of ISTE Island, including reflections of 6 years of ISTE in Second Life by Jennifer Reagan IV, and Scott Merrick's Too Much House, which discusses the plans for a new, smaller ISTE headquarters on Edu Island. For many of us, ISTE headquarters was where we took our first steps and became our first home. One of my very first memories of ISTE Island was sitting around the campfire with friends, and Maggie Larimore gave me a marshmallow on a stick and taught me how to find it in my inventory and wear it. What can I say? The people we meet and spend time with become our family, our mentors, and together we build a strong community. We all miss those who moved on and cherish the memories we shared together as pioneers and settlers on what was then ISTE headquarters.
In that same March 2012 issue of VEJ, we did a story, Why Are We Here? And shared stories from several readers introducing their real-world persona and that of their avatar. The April 2014 issue, which is the centerpiece on that slide, introduced the theme or concept of my avatar and me, and it introduced 8 avatars and their educators behind them, or vice versa. They're also sharing themselves as their avatars, who they are, what they are, and how they're different and alike with their avatars.
For many of us, it wasn't until the summer of 2016 that our avatars and us grew up. It happened when Matt Poole suddenly passed away. One night in Second Life, a bunch of us were sitting in a hot tub laughing and having a great time, Cyrus included. And the next night, he was gone. The news of his death on June 5th, 2016 reverberated across the metaverse. For many of us, Second Life stood still as the news spread through digital channels. Until that moment, I don't think any of us realized the magnitude and strength of our virtual friendships and relationships. Our avatars felt the deep pain, the empty void, and the immense loss of our virtual friend. How could someone we never met in real life cause our avatar selves to be so heartbroken? Cyrus Hesh was with us from our first issue of VEJ, and we still miss him greatly. Because of the deep loss we all felt while moving through the grieving process, we realized that the paradigm had shifted. All of a sudden, it was no longer my avatar and me, but my avatar is me. And just as in real life, our avatar has feelings too. Over the years, we've lost many dear friends and colleagues. In the fall 2024 issue, VEJ paid tribute to 2 of them who really rocked our world and left us once again speechless and heartbroken. We lost Lori Von Mockford, real life, Lori Von Lester, Second Life, or LV, as we all knew her, last spring, just prior to the 2024 conference. LV was actively involved in VWBPE as an executive committee member. From the beginning of VWBPE, LV wore many hats and served as a chair and committee member to ensure VWBPE was a great learning experience for all attendees. In fact, she was named the 2024 VWBPE Thinker Award recipient for her remarkable achievement that left an indelible mark on education and all of us. You can read more about LV and her tribute in the fall 2024 issue. This past September, we lost another close and special colleague and friend, Olive Tree Lighthouse in Second Life, Maha Abdelmonem, she's from Cairo, Egypt in real life. Olive Tree was part of so many of our communities, including VWEC, OSCC, VWBPE, and World of Warcraft. Olive Tree wrote on her Second Life profile, I came to Second Life to learn, teach, explore, and enjoy connecting with the educational worlds. Virtual worlds to me are about people, cultures, ideas, and the amazing sense of presence that I get while connecting with them. We all got even more from Olive Tree by getting to know and connecting with them, connecting with her than she probably got from all of us. Valerie Hill, aka the librarian Greg, wrote in an email announcing our huge loss. Olive Tree was so helpful in Second Life and across many virtual environments. She was the ambassador and leader of our VWEC Mind Test Club, which never would have started without her guidance. She lives on in our memories as she made the world's a better place. The tribute in the fall 2024 issue of VEJ includes many thoughts from our friends and colleagues, as well as a beautiful tribute from Lear Lobo. As with our loss of Cyrus, the paradigm shifted even further with the loss of our beloved LV, LV and Olive Tree. It rekindled deep emotions and crushed our souls. With broken hearts, we now understood. Our avatars are us. We are our avatars. We are one.
On that note, the theme for the spring 2025 issue of VEJ is digital legacies. In this issue, we want to explore the legal issues as well as access to the designs, the builds, and the creations of those that we have lost in digital and virtual worlds. What happens to their work? How do we preserve their legacy? We also want to pay tribute to the virtual friends and colleagues that we have lost in Second Life and other virtual worlds and digital environments. But to do this, we'll need everyone's help to share your stories and memories with us. So we're encouraging you to help us out.
The theme for the winter 2025 issue, coming soon, is meta-literacy and immersive learning. We're looking for articles explaining meta-literacy, including the domains of meta-literacy, the roles and characteristics of meta-literacy. We also want to know how you are immersing yourself for personal and professional learning and the learning of your students through teaching and learning in Second Life and other virtual worlds and digital environments. The deadline for the winter issue is January 15th, 2025. However, January 15th is fast approaching. So if you have an idea for an article and you could submit it to me before January 30th, please IM me in Second Life or email me at either editor@virtualeducationjournal.com or Vojtek@edovation.com. And be sure to put VEJ in the subject line because I do get a lot of email and I don't want to miss yours.
The theme for the summer 2025 issue is hypergridding, traverse the metaverse. We hope to hear from all of you that are experienced hypergrid travelers. It would be great to have you share some of the stories and experiences traversing the metaverse.
Hey, you said that pretty good this time.
Yeah, I stumbled over it every other time I tried.
Hey, it's tongue-tied with the traversing the metaverse, but I think that's a catchy title. And finally, the theme for our fall issue for 2025 is community building, looking for new friendships and building relationships bring many of us to Second Life, but it's our sense of belonging, our connections with each other, and our active engagement in shared communities that bring meaning and purpose to our virtual and real lives. So we want to explore that topic further. So hopefully you'll share with us some of the ways that you have been connecting with your communities.
What's my favorite number?
I don't know. What is your favorite number?
36-2079. It's amazing. So this number is our new ISSN number, and we're so excited to share that VEJ has an ISSN number. It's the International Standard Serial Number. It's similar to an ISBN number for books, but this is for periodicals, both online periodicals and print periodicals. So it's a big deal for us and for everybody that writes for VEJ because it can be a great addition to your resume or your vita.
It is a big deal.
It is a big deal. I'm thrilled that it finally came through after so much work. So, however, we are not, nor do we have any plans to be, a referee journal. We're practitioner-based, but we enthusiastically accept published research studies as well as general articles. Having an ISSN number will allow the writers for VEJ to list those articles as part of their professional work, whether it's a student, a non-tenured or tenured faculty member, or a practitioner. And we especially are interested in working with master's and doctoral students in publishing their work in VEJ and being able to get credit for that on their resume.
As I said before, we love pictures because every picture is a story, tells a story, and every picture is worth 1,000 words. So pictures really help to share the work that people are doing in Second Life. We're also interested in connecting theory and practice. So if you have any articles about that, we would love to have them. And then we especially, even if you just have pictures that you want to share, make sure you send those with a caption and we can include those in VEJ. In the future, we also want to explore issues beyond virtual worlds with technology and how it's being leveraged to enhance teaching and learning. We want to discuss ways in which technology is not only enhancing learners, but maybe distracting them from their true learning so that we can learn what we can do in order to make their teaching and learning better. We also want to highlight digital learning in a variety of online formats, including but not limited to social media and gaming. And there's a lot of changes going on right now out there with social media. So we want to stay on top of that one. We are also interested in exploring the vast frontier of virtual worlds, including and beyond Second Life. Finally, we're interested in the new and ongoing developments of mobile and web-based versions of Second Life. And if you haven't been listening and checking into what's happening with the mobile version and now with the web-based version, that's something that you may want to look into.
We've talked about AI previously, and we want to mention a little bit more about it because we used it to create the cover, and it can do amazing things. But it can also generate like a digital cliff notes that just skims and distills content down. But often that text was meticulously crafted with the author trying to find just the right words to paint an image. AI can distill out all of that beauty of the text at a huge cost to the original work. As trailblazers, we want to seek out new tools and techniques and discover effective practices that ground in authentic experiences that help achieve learning goals and demonstrate results, adding value, not subtracting from it.
By sharing your stories and celebrating your achievements, we want to be in the front of new technologies as a voice to drive the use of the new tools to enhance education as opposed to letting the technology drive us. There's so many great things happening across the metaverse, and we know that so many of you are blazing new trails and doing amazing work. We hope you'll share your stories and pictures with our readers. More detailed information for writing for VEJ is found on the last 2 pages of the fall 2024 issue of VEJ on the VEJ website and at our VEJ headquarters in Second Life. If you have any questions or an article submission, please contact me again. I've told you at my email addresses, and that would be, they're up there on the slide, or you can also IM me in Second Life. We would love to hear from you. Remember, VEJ is only as good as we all make it. So please share your stories and your pictures.
So as Rosie just said, the email and contact information is on the slide. You can read all of our previous issues of VEJ on the website that's listed here, as well as on issue. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
And at the back of this space, or actually back side, where all the posters are from presenters for this expert series, there's a poster there for us. And if you click on that poster, you can get a copy of our slides from this presentation. You can also get a free t-shirt and information about writing for VEJ and all of our contact information. So be sure to do that. And again, click on the sign up here if you want a copy of VEJ, and be sure to share it with all of your friends because VEJ is too good not to share.
Remember, VEJ is only as good as we all make it. So please share your stories.
So be sure to pick up a free copy of the fall 2024 issue of VEJ. Enjoy every morsel and devour every bite. And be sure to share it with your colleagues and friends because, as I said, VEJ is too good not to share.
And most of all, be sure to VEJ
out of this world.
Thank you.
And now we can open this up for questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations on a wonderful, engaging, and important project. And thank you especially for sharing that with us today. We have a few minutes for questions. I don't remember seeing any typed into chat. John, am I correct on that? I think I'm correct on that.
You're correct, Meryl. No questions yet.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have questions, you can do voice or you can do chat.
I have a question,
Right.
actually, Meryl, maybe just to kickstart things.
Sure.
So firstly, congratulations and well done. I had an opportunity earlier today to scroll through the current edition. I didn't read it in detail. I'll come back to that. And it's incredible. I mean, it's over 100 pages. It's phenomenally rich, a huge amount of work for you guys. And my question is, if you move to becoming a peer-reviewed journal, and I know that's a journey, how will you resource that? Because it does increase the workload hugely.
Yeah, we've really thought about that long and hard. Originally, when we started VEJ, there were people that were in higher ed, probably tenure track faculty, and they really couldn't put anything that VEJ had down because it either wasn't a referee journal or didn't have an ISSN number. And we've been affiliated with referee journals, and we feel that's just beyond our reach currently. So for the foreseeable future, we have no plans to become refereed, just to be a source of hopefully solid, correct, and inspiring information.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Build on what John was saying. This 115 pages, I guess that's what I've read. That's a tremendous amount of work. And I wonder, just, do you ever have any free time after doing all of that?
Oh, we try.
Yeah.
No, we actually do get, like, we're retired now, which is really nice. And we actually do volunteer work at it's like a soup kitchen, but it's actually a restaurant called Gather 55 Hands on Hartford in Hartford. We do that once a week for their lunchtime, and try to do things in the community as well as this. You're right, it does take quite a bit of work, but when it's your passion and when you enjoy what you're doing, I love learning about what people are doing in Second Life and in other virtual worlds, etc. And so to me, it's just fun.
Yeah. And since Rosie mentioned Gather 55, this is an amazing model. It's now a full-blown restaurant, and during the regular week, most days for breakfast and for lunch, anybody can come in. If we went in, we would just go in, pick up the menu, order off the menu, and pay. But for folks that are struggling, if you can afford $5, there's a $5 portion of the meal. If you can only afford $3, there's a $3 portion of the meal. And if you can't afford anything at all, they ask you to work for half an hour and you get an amazing meal off the same menu. It's really, really amazing. And then on evenings, I think Thursday through the weekend, it's a white tablecloth dining experience that they bring in guest chefs once a month, and they train the cooks to implement whatever the menu is for that month. It's really pretty amazing.
Yes, indeed. My goodness.
And with that being said, check out WIC Foods. I kid you not. The role-playing thing is amazing. And, like we were talking earlier when I was working with Val, when I was working with Val this morning in a different presentation and thinking about cooperative learning and breaking into small groups, they have an amazing model, and I've got to figure out how it works. But where they are able in their restaurants to have several different tables around the restaurant, and you can go in and different tables can be having their own conversations, just like you would in a regular restaurant. It's amazing. So be sure to check out their venues. They're beautiful and very well designed.
There are two more questions here, Meryl.
Yes.
One from Ellie, who asks, do you expect to have as large a publication every time?
What publication?
As large a publication? A lot of it depends. If you go back and you look, I think over the course of the years, a lot depends on what's happening in Second Life and other virtual worlds and what we hear about and how many articles that we get. But technically, they're usually around, I would say, 80 pages to 120 something. If you just look at the size of the issues. So I sometimes I wonder why I make them so long, and then we have to break it. I don't know, but there's just always so much to put in there, and I whatever it takes. I think the beauty of using Issue and online publications is we don't have to worry about the word length and how many pages each article can have in each person. It's unlimited. So it might be like that. Maybe we should call it a book instead of a journal. I don't know.
Combine them.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Delia Lake is picking up on your previous talk about the restaurant. Asks, does it include a pay forward option so that people who can afford it can subsidize other needs?
Actually, no, not at this time. I know that when we had our VEJ party, just the grand reopening, because they are one of our sponsors, or at least right now they're helping us and we're helping them to promote each other. But as they're getting started, but they did put up tables with free samples of their food, but their food is pretty cheap. They do charge for their food, but it's actually relatively inexpensive, and I think it's worth going just to check it out. They use a couple of role play hubs, and I'm spacing on them right now, but too. I'm going to, in the next issue, I'm going to really investigate them and write an article on it. But you can, if you go get their card, you can see what their actual role play headsets are. So when you go to pay, if you don't have one of their HUDs, then you're not part of that role play, whatever it is, then you can do just pay as you go or whatever. But I was in one of their bars not too long ago, just checking it out, and just because it was live, and they actually had a bartender in there. And so you would actually have conversations like if you were at Cheers or something, the television show, but you could actually sit at the bar and have a conversation and a drink with the bartender. It was really fun because she was live and we were live, and it was fun to talk with friends and have a drink. So check it out.
Well, there are some days when I really need that. We're approaching the end of our hour. Once again, I want to thank Roxie and BJ for their presentation. And as Roxie noted, their slides are available by means of a large sign over on the wall behind us. And you're invited to check out all of that. You're also invited to gather informally on the deck at the back of the venue to ask additional questions or to offer comments. We have food and drink available. I don't know if we would ever make the magazine, but it's it's there for your enjoyment. Note that the next installment of the VWEC Expert Series will be on Friday, January 24 at 1 p.m. SLT, and will feature Keeper Baxton, who will talk about building smart electric cities, the future in SL. Please note that you can find links to our in-world calendar and related helpful information posted along with our media presence, and we encourage you to explore these sites to find out more about VWEC and the educational community at large. So with that, I invite you to join us at the back and for a more informal conversation. And I thank every one of you for joining us today.